You might not expect that one of them is a guitar factory in the...
However, these guitars have long set the standard for the music industry. Anthony Mason went to Pennsylvania for a company tour. Anthony, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie. It is one of the oldest family-owned businesses in the United States. Through 6 generations, the company has seen more than its share of both good and bad times. And while much of the country struggled through the recession and slow recovery, these guitar makers just kept on strumming. The Barn Red Building in Nazareth, Pennsylvania is a musician's mecca. For guitar lovers, a visit here is almost a religious experience. Because since 1839, this is where Martin guitars have been made.
This is the point at fit the neck with the compound dovetail joint into the body. It's something we've done since the beginning.
Chris Martin, the great-great-grandson of the founder, presides over Martin, the largest manufacturer of acoustic guitars in the United States. How many guitars do you make here a year?
Oh, here about 50,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Martin may also be the most coveted acoustic guitar on the planet. Bob Dylan plays a Martin. So do John Mayer, Stephen Stills, and Sting.
The wrist.
There's just something about a Martin guitar that it's hard to beat, and I knew when I first picked one up that was the one I wanted.
Country star Dierks Bentley owns 5 Martins, and now also endorses a custom model.
I added some touches to the herringbone with this kind of red, white, and blue inlay, which I think is really cool that they did. Something I'm really proud to have my name on.
The company has been family-owned for 6 generations. This is a truly American story, isn't it?
Yes, very much so. Yep.
C.F. Martin, a young German immigrant, started the business in New York City in 1833. 6 years later, he moved to the Pennsylvania countryside, where the Martin Guitar Company began to grow into what is now a 200,000-square-foot plant. What built this factory, basically?
This present location,
Yeah, you said in the 60s it was
folk music.
Folk music. Martin suddenly found itself with 4 years' worth of back orders. The sales boom continued until the 70s.
When it came to a rather abrupt halt, thanks to disco, which was no good for anyone who made live music. And that's when we struggled. We went from producing over 20,000 guitars to struggling to sell 3,000.
In the depths of that slump, Chris Martin, then 31, succeeded his father as head of the company. You essentially had to rescue this company.
I tried not to think about it. You know, I tried not to think about the dire consequences. It couldn't happen.
So Martin went back to basics.
What I said to my colleagues was, if we're only going to sell 3,000 guitars, let's make them the best 3,000 guitars the world has ever seen. And that resonated with them, because we were all kind of down in the dumps.
But the company rallied. And when MTV launched its Unplugged series, musicians rediscovered acoustic guitars. And business started booming again. The Nazareth plant now has more than 500 employees, like Milton has.
I'm in my 43rd year.
43 years.
And your dad worked here?
Oh, yes, my father worked here. My 2 sons work here.
Yeah.
Martin also has a plant in Mexico, which turns out another 50,000 guitars a year. Did you think you'd come this far back?
I never imagined that the guitar would become as popular as it is today worldwide. Never in my wildest dreams. We did $100 million in business last year.
What do you attribute?
I really think that musicians, they continue to rediscover just how cool it is to take a finely made wooden box with metal strings on it and hold it against their body and feel it vibrate. And I think they find something very inspiring in that.
Anthony, I love that.
$100 million in business. Wow.
Go Martin Guitars. What
Yeah.
makes them different from the other guys?
Well, first of all, as you saw in there, I mean, there's a lot of handwork and hand craftsmanship that goes into these guitars. And in the end, what the musicians say is it's the sound. And particularly, they age incredibly well. Martin's from the highest, by a lot of musicians, and they really treasure them. And the other thing is, they're not cheap. I mean,
I was going to say the
entry level price is about $500. You can get them cheaper if you want. If you're trying to match the Asian model, they've tried to compete against the Asian others who are making guitars. But if you want a John Mayer custom model, for example, that's about $15,000. Martins, cost you six figures.
Do they really sound different when you listen to them with
The musicians will tell you they do. I may not be sophisticated enough to know, but the musicians, they pick them up and they just don't want to put them down.
Well, they're certainly,
we're seeing,
pretty.
are there more acoustic guitars being used today than ever?
Well, it's as we mentioned in the story, it's funny, but MTV Unplugged really did have. You started seeing musicians who played electric guitars start to play acoustic, and suddenly people rediscovered them, and they came back, and it hasn't waned since. I mean, they're doing this.
Before you go, it sounds like you have a busy Saturday tomorrow.
We do. We're following the same. We'll be following Hurricane Sandy and keeping.